Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Splash Recap Podcast. Today, we are recapping the entire month of January across all 4 USPORTS swimming conferences. The Splash Recap Podcast is brought to you by Swim Nerd Canada, makers of Canada's #1 digital pace clock. It's a must-have for all leading swim programs. Please check out swimnerdcanada.com for more. All right, we're going to start with the Toronto vs. Calgary dual meet. So this was hosted by the University of Toronto. And we saw the University of Toronto women defeat Calgary 82-63. And we saw the University of Toronto men defeat Calgary 88-63. This was a huge win for Toronto for the men and the women, as both teams were ranked underneath the Calgary Dinos, which always makes me think of the question, who is the #1 dual meet team in the country? It could be Toronto. They're very, very strong in a dual meet format. However, Calgary has a really good shot of beating them at the national championship, but only time will tell. Next up, Toronto is back in the water hosting Western University. So again, Toronto's women and men both won. So Toronto got 83, Western got 59 on the women's side. Then on the men's side, Toronto got 86 and Western got 60. To me, what I see is Western has a great program this year. Western's looking fantastic. To do against Toronto almost as well as Calgary did, which Calgary is one of the best teams in the whole country. An absolutely amazing program they have out there. For Western to do just as good, not quite just as good, almost as good as Calgary did, is a really great sign for this team, especially heading in to the OUA Championship and USPORTS coming up in March. Then we had the McMaster versus Brock meet. On the women's side, McMaster got 1,026 points, while Brock got 918 points. On the men's side, McMaster got 989 points, while Brock got 958 points. So if you're wondering, number one, the change in the low score from the previous dual meets to the high score of this one, it's because they're using two different systems to measure the points. So the Toronto vs. Western and the Toronto vs. Calgary was using the dual meet format, while McMaster vs. Brock is, at their meet, they were ranking the points just like you would at divisionals or OUAs or any of the provincial level competitions that you might have. On the men's side, McMaster got 989 points, while Brock got 958, which is fantastic for the team. So, mostly, strong things here. McMaster's women and McMaster's men are still both above Brock. However, Brock is an up-and-coming program. They are wanting to break out onto the scene and really do some good work this year. Brock's men being that close to McMaster is a really, really good sign for this program. OUAs at the time of recording is less than 1 week away. So, Brock is gunning for a higher position than they got last year. He's going to try to pass Laurier, maybe even challenge Waterloo or McMaster for a top 4 position. So, really good on the men's side. On the women's side, Max just showed that they're still a lot stronger, especially in a one-on-one battle. However, this week, Brock's women were ranked top 10 for the first time ever, and Mac's women were not in the top 10. Now, that also is a bit because, rankings are not perfect, but it's really good to see Brock's doing really well. I'm very excited to see what they do at OUAs and USPORTS. There was another meet that day hosted by McMaster, actually earlier in the morning, and it was the McMaster Waterloo and Guelph Tri-Meet. There are still some results pending on Meet Mobile, which is where we usually get these scores from. So I've not included it here at the moment. Unfortunately enough, I would love to see the final results. I don't know if results still pending was intentional or not, but again, I'd like to see some more. So I'm including this in the RSEC conference because this meet, the Ottawa Tri-Meet, was hosted by the University of Ottawa, which is an RSEC team, but it was against Carleton and Queens, which are both OUA teams. On the women's side, Ottawa won. They won every category. So Ottawa won both the men's and women's category at this meet. On the women's side, Ottawa got 301 points, while Queens got 157 and Carleton got 70 points. On the men's side, Ottawa got 312 points, Carleton got 112, and Queens got 106. Now, Ottawa is an absolute powerhouse. They're a fantastic program, fantastic team. I believe it was 2 years ago they got third at USPORTS on the men's side, so fantastic program. They do some really good work out there. So I'm not surprised that Ottawa won. That should not have shocked anybody. They're Compared to Queens and Carleton, they're in a league of their own. Queens and Carleton are not bad teams at all whatsoever. They both have U Sport qualifiers. You're going to see them at OUAs, and you are going to see some of their swimmers at U Sports. However, they cannot beat Ottawa at the moment. They're working on it. They're doing some good progress. They're making good gains, but they aren't there yet. I do really like though that Queens and Carleton, they're pretty similar in your combined score because Carleton's men are a little bit stronger. Queens' women are a little bit stronger. This meet specifically, Queens women really ran away with it to get that second place spot. Queens gave Carleton a run for their money on the men's side, but still really good to see. Next up, in the AUS, we had the AUS Invitational, won by Dalhousie. So Dow won all three categories. Men, women combined, they won it all. Let's start on the women's side. So Dow got 1,027 points, Acadia 761, Memorial 418, UNB 212, and Mount Allison 209. So the maximum points that you can get at a typical swim meet is 80 points. So Dalhousie had two women reach that 80-point number. They had Emma Clark, who got first in the 200 free, 50 free, 400 free, and 100 free. And they had Emily Schofield, who got first in the 200 IM, 800 free, 200 back, and 400 IM. Acadia's top female point scorer was Sophie Rooney, getting 64 points, winning the 50-meter fly, second 100 fly, third 50 free, eighth 50 breast. Memorial, their top scorer, got 55 points, and that was Heidi Perry, getting third in the 200 fly, fourth 50 fly, and fourth in the 100 fly, and then ninth in the 100 free. The University of New Brunswick women were led by Leah Small with 40 points. Leah won the 100 back and the 50 back. And then Mount Allison was led by Michaela Churchill, who got 30 points, getting 6th in the 800 free, 8th in the 200 back, and 11th in the 50 back. On the men's side, Dalhousie got 976.5 points. Acadia got 618.5 points. UNB got 384, Memorial 294, and Mount Allison 212. Logan Sparks was the top point scorer for Dal's men with 71 points, getting first in the 200 IM, second in the 50 free, 100 free, and 200 back. Acadia's Nate Thompson led the men with 61 points, getting first in the 100 fly, fourth in the 50 back, fifth in the 100 breast, and seventh in the 50 free. The University of New Brunswick men were led by Blake Kingston, getting 67 points, winning the 100 breast, 50 breast, and getting fourth in the 200 breast and seventh in the 200 IM. Memorial University was led by Chris Weeks, who got 75 points. He got first in the 50 fly, 50 free, 100 free, and fourth in the 50 breast. Mount Allison was led by Kevin Lee, who got 26 points. He got 7th in the 400 IM, 10th in the 100 back, 11th 200 IM, and 16th in the 50 back. Really good job, everyone. It was really nice to see these teams all go head-to-head again, especially with the AUS Championship being only about 2 weeks away. So it's coming up really quick. So it was nice to see where they're all at, and currently, Dow is atop the standings. So yeah, Acadia has beaten Dow twice this year on the women's side. They beat them at Kemp Fry, and they beat them at the Jack Schultz Invitational, while Dow's women have topped the podium at the Ambi Legere Invitational, and now the AUS Invitational. So, 2 wins for Acadia, 2 wins for Acadia's women, 2 wins for Dow's women. Who will get it in the end? I don't know. You're going to have to check in. You can watch that one live on AUS TV if you'd like. You'll have a very good time watching some fast swimming out in the AUS. So other than all these absolutely fantastic people leading their teams and the Dow-Acadia women's battle for the conference title, I also wanted to mention the University of New Brunswick. Because UNB, so at every AUS meet so far, the University of New Brunswick men have always been bested by Memorial University. But guess what? If you were listening when I said it earlier, the University of New Brunswick was able to beat Memorial this time, which is great, especially since Chris Weeks was there. If you don't know who Chris is, he has a ton of AUS records, really fast guy. He's one of the best swimmers. He's one of the best swimmers, arguably, in USPORTS. And to see the University of New Brunswick beat Memorial while he was there was really cool to see. It was really good, and I'm glad the University of New Brunswick is making some strides. Especially they got Blake Kingston, great breaststroker, as you can tell, winning 2 of the breaststroke events. He's a U Sports qualifier. You'll see him in Toronto in March if you come to U Sports. Now for all of the Canada West meets. So I've got some complaints in the past not covering all the different club meets that the Canada West teams go to. And so I'm trying to be better. So first off, we have the Bison Spring Invitational, which was attended by the University of Manitoba. Their top swimmer was on the women's side was Kelsey Fillon, who got first in the 100 IM, second in the 50 fly, and third in the 50 free. On the men's side, we have Ty Unra, who got first in the 50 back and first in the 50 free. Next up, we have the UBC Winter Warm-Up, which is hosted by the University of British Columbia, and it was attended by Victoria and UBC. So starting with Victoria, we have on the women's side Erin Epp and Isabella Baruno. I wanted to include them both because they both hit U Sports qualifying times. Erin in the 400 IM, winning the event, and Isabella in the 200 fly, finishing second overall. On the men's side, they have Kier Ogilvie. He led the Vikes with 2 wins and a school record. He got first in the 200 free and the 100 fly, with that 100-meter fly being the school record with a 54.50. Very, very fast swimming from Kier. Can't wait to see what he does at U Sports. From UBC, Finley Knox won both of his events, the 100-meter breaststroke and the 100 freestyle. So if you didn't know, Finley can rip a pretty solid 100 breast. We know him as an IMer, of course, world champion in the 200 IM. He can also rip a pretty fast 100-meter breast with a 1:02.45. On the women's side, there are 2 female athletes from UBC I'd like to point out. We have Kayla Sanchez, who won her 3 events, with the 50 free, 200 IM, and 100 free. But we also have Bridget Burton, who also won both of her events, the 100 and 200-meter backstroke. Next up, we have the Blue Bears, which was attended by the University of Alberta. On the women's side, Isabella Senavante had 3 firsts in the 800 free, 200 fly, and 100 fly. On the men's side, Paul McKenzie had 2 first-place finishes in the 100 free, 200 free, and finished second in the 800 free and 200 back. Last but not least, we have the Regina Winter Classic, attended by the University of Regina. On the women's side, Callie Kennedy had 4 first-place finishes in the 50 fly, 100 back, 100 free, 50 back, a 3rd place finish in the 100 fly, and a 4th place in the 200-meter backstroke. On the men's side, Matthew Burrow had 4 firsts in the 50 back, 100 fly, 200 free, 200 IM, a 2nd place finish in the 50 free, and a 3rd place finish in the 200-meter backstroke. Great job, everybody out in Canada West, throwing down some fast times, and we're getting close to U Sports. So, what will we see at U Sports? Oh, it's very, very exciting. I can't wait. I'd also like to mention that U Sports announced their top 8 academic All-Canadians. 2 of them are swimmers. On the women's side, we have Ainsley McMurray from the University of Toronto. Ainsley got this award during her MA in Environmental Sciences with an A average. Ainsley McMurray is a 3-time U Sports freestyle champion and was named the 2024 OUA Swimmer of the Year. She also played a pivotal role in the Toronto Varsity Blues' 3 consecutive national team titles. So that just goes to show that you can be dedicated to your sport, you can be dedicated to your academics, and you can do them both, even if it is very, very tough. Amazing job, Ainsley McMurray. Thank you for being an inspiration to all of our U Sport athletes. On the men's side, we have Nathan Versailles of the University of Calgary, a 5th-year student and a 4th-year swimmer, getting a Bachelor of Science in Geography. His GPA was a 3.91 out of 4, which meant that when Nathan graduated, he did so with distinction. He's a 3-time academic All-Canadian and consistently placed on Canada West and U Sports swimming podiums, including winning gold in the 400 freestyle at multiple Canada West championships and a silver at the 2024 U Sports Championship. Congratulations, Nathan. You have done great stuff. Thank you for also being an inspiration and showing that you can be dedicated to both your academics and your athletics. So lastly, before I go, I want to highlight that coming up, we have all of our championships. So February 7th to 9th, hopefully you are listening to this before then, because that is the OUA Swimming Championship. So you get the 10 teams of the OUA all racing each other. Then February 14th to 16th, you have the RSEC Championship. And then February 21st to 23rd, you have the AUS Swimming Championship. And then March 6th to 8th For the whole thing, we have the USports Swimming Championship hosted at the University of Toronto. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to the Splash Recap podcast and to follow us on Instagram at UniSwim Canada. And lastly, I would like to thank Swim Nerd Canada and their digital and programmable pace clocks for sponsoring our show. Visit swimnerdcanada.com to learn how to get your program a Swim Nerd digital pace clock. The Swim Nerd pace clock is Canada's #1 digital pace clock. It comes in both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth options, making it the smartest clock on the market and a must-have for all leading swim programs. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.